I mean, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Beyond the Gray Media, Josh here, checking in on you. I don't wanna dick around. I just want to do an honest reaction. I just watched this film from 2014. I was just gonna go to bed, but it bothered me. I think, like with horror films, sometimes you hit a line to where you can't be shocked anymore, or something just becomes so, I don't know, but I could not go to bed and not talk about this film. So I'm just going to do an honest reaction. I wrote down a couple of things while I was watching it that just was blowing my mind. So 2014, Carcinoma, Marion Dora, whatever you want to call him, whatever he goes by, he's got like an alias because he makes films that are so disgusting and people hate him for it. He has to release them in secrecy, right? And so this is one of them. This is Carcinoma. As soon as I think I've been shocked or I've been put past the point of caring, something comes across the radar like Carcinoma and just emotionally fucks me up to a point where you don't feel like you can ever go back. That's how I feel with this film. I mean, I like to think that like I'm seasoned. I can take a lot of the ruthlessness and vulgarity that the horror world has to offer, and then this just comes across my plate, man, and just totally changes the landscape for a little while. Whenever I'm playing in the sandbox of Marion Dora, whatever he goes by, I'm soft, I'm vanilla, and I am ample flesh and bones for him to corrupt. Blessed are the ones who suffer, it says in this film, and that's what happens from the first frame. Carcinoma reminds you not to pay any attention to the flesh on display. Things are going to be rough. This is a Marion Dora production. Whatever he goes by, whatever his anonymity that he needs to have, his identity is secret for a reason. He chooses these colors, this music, this animal cruelty. Everything that he does is vicious. It's squeamish. It gets under the nail bed. It causes infection. It roots around. Carcinoma is a mean fucking flick, dude. I underestimated him. I don't know why. I mean, Cannibal was one of the meanest films that I'd ever seen, but this is, I think, the top. This is something else entirely. This, you're not going to forget it. It's probably why it's taken me a few weeks to push play on the disc, because you got to be in the right headspace to devour a film from Marion. I mean, I've got Melancholy der Engel. Like, this is another really intense film from him. This is a beast to get through. I'm not even going to cut. We're just going to talk about it. I was not prepared for how far this film was going to take. For the journey I was going to go on, man, I wasn't ready. I fucking was not ready at all. Carcinoma, it's pretty simple, but it's pretty painful. Like, the story, a man gets undiagnosed with, guess what? Carcinoma, right? But it's not until the end stage that we actually meet him. Dorian, as he goes by in this film, we find him in this German emergency room. He's pretty much reached critical mass, right? There's no more time for tests. There's no more time for scans. It's time to backtrack and go through confession, go to church and see what happened to him and how he got here. If you've seen Cannibal, you got an idea of what you're getting yourself into with Dora's work. Gratuitous sex, violence, perversity, cruelty. He just has a way of making you feel every scene, every act, the way that he shoots it. It's never pleasant. There's no comedic relief, right? You're never going out for a cappuccino. There's not even relatively any food ever in his films unless you're eating somebody, right? You don't get anything light. We're just thrown right into the mix, and the experiences that we have to go through fucking suck. They suck to go through, but it doesn't mean that it's totally ugly. I mean, it is. This is an ugly, mean, nasty flick with there's no positive reinforcement. It's gonna cost most viewers the stuff, the graphicness on screen. It's gonna bog you down. You're gonna have a bad time. I'm laughing because it's so brutal and it's so just hard to look at that it doesn't even register sometimes that people are doing this. Like the close-ups of the cadavers, the squeaking wheels of the gurney, the remains of a toilet. It's so black, it's so vile, it's so ruthless. There's just no hope, and we have to assume the worst case scenario with Dora. Like, gross negligence at all times, and we have to live through it, man. We just, every single film I've seen him do, it just takes a little fucking piece of you, and I can't believe it when it's shown on screen. Like, I'm ready in my head that I'm like, oh yeah, viewer beware, Carcinoma is gonna be full of snakes, sex, and scandals. It's exhausting, shit. It's also incredible because you can't look away. I couldn't even look away, man. Do you think God has punished me? The movie asks a couple of times. You and me both, buddy. You and me both. Carcinoma, it explores like how far you would go if you were out of time. What would you feel? Where would you turn? Colorectal cancer pushed past the extremes on full display. And all of its disgusting, filthy mess. I don't know where your toileting expectations might live, okay, as a viewer. I don't know how much you can take. I don't know, how much shit and piss and intestines, what's too much? This is going to test that. Now, there's movies like American Guinea Pig. There's some torturous movies, August Hunger. There's a lot of movies that do that. This is the music. This is a different animal altogether because it feels real, it feels painful, it's bleak, and it's on full display. Carcinoma, man, it just goes further. I can't believe how far this director goes. This thing's 10 years old now. This is a beautiful release. I'm just gonna say it right now. At some point, the pain and the fluids on screen, they have to mercilessly stop. Something has to end, but they just don't. And I don't know who this movie is for. I have no idea. But it fucked me up bad in the best way. There was a point where the lead was just crossing the street and like his khakis or whatever he's wearing, like they're just soaked. He's just dripping blood and shit and goop and ooh. It's the full meal deal, man. It is a full meal deal in his underpants, and he can't even cross the street. Brutal, vulgar. Yeah, it's mean-spirited. You can't. There's nothing to say, but you can't not say that this is an art because this director chooses some of the most intelligent and abhorrent ways to make you want to vomit up your soul. It's just beyond effective. I'm like holding my hand. I'm trying to oh my god. Strong warning though for those who are sensitive to cruelty akin to cannibal holocaust, involving constrictors and rodents. You've been warned. There's a scene where this rabbit is just like gasping for it, like just, right? Oh my god. Bleak, black, non-discreet, man. Carcinoma, it's full frontal. It's a full assault on the senses. The taste of death and what not to do if you have any feeling in your bones like you should go and get checked out. Carcinoma's gonna say, I'm telling you, man. I'm not going to become a Costco sample just because maybe I smell good. You know what I mean? And that's what this guy decides to do. He's just rooting around inside of he's going to root around in there and see what happens. Black, vile, disgusting organs. Everything is just falling out of him, and he can't look away, and you can't either. You just have to sit through it and go through it. I don't know who this is for. I don't know, but I think that this director, he's got a real talent. If I had this director's talent, I would feel pretty special, but I don't. Thank God there's someone that will go this hard for the sake of proving a point, because I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would have the guts or the balls to do it, because he's trying to prove a point. I don't even know what that point is, but he takes it so far that like it consumed my thoughts for a long time. where I was like, I'm not going to bed. I got to get up. I just got to push the red button and just see what comes out. This is past extremity, isolation, disturbing. This is like where you've got a cut or a sore and you just let the bandage swell with infection and you don't change it out. You're tempted to because it starts to stink, but the director wants you to let it rot from the inside out. And then we're going to go ahead and focus, now that you're goopy, bloody, fucking bleeding everywhere. We're just going to focus on that pain. We're not going to cut away. We're going to see what happens when you rot from the inside. Then we're going to bring in some people that can say that they can help you, right? Some holy people that want to help you pass on to the next life with maybe dignity or less suffering. And that's not what happens. That's not what happens at all. I can watch a Serbian film, Poughkeepsie. I can watch a bunch of movies on a loop that have no effect compared to something like this. This was 97 minutes of just vile, extremely gross. Yeah, what's next? Somebody, I want to say, Horror Hands, he said, if you liked Cannibal, you got to see Carcinoma. It jacked me up, and I was like, I'm putting it on my list. That was probably like 2 months ago. I see exactly what he was talking about now. This is so much past Cannibal for me. Cannibal is it's a fucked up movie, but it's a really good movie. This is something. I loved it though. Like, I can't stop. Look at how awesome this release is, dude. This is the, I don't even know who put this thing out, man. I got it off Diabolic. It was still available with a slip cover, right? A slide out. Look at, hopefully there's nothing gross on here. Carcinoma, dude, 2014. Brutal. Maybe the most brutal film that I own. I mean, I've got some like just vile, torturous, August Underground kind of toe tag stuff that's just gross for the sake of being gross. But this is like emotionally exhausting and effective. That rabbit scene, that the snake and the constrictor, like, that got to me. As like, spoiler, this dude's got carcinoma and he doesn't take care of it. He just decides to go to the emergency room. He's black and he's just... Anyway, there's a scene with the boa constrictor. It happens during sex. It happens all the time in this movie where it's they're feeding the boa, right? They're feeding the python. And it just takes control of this animal. And I think that I'm never going to forget that scene. I guess you wouldn't say like it's the most violent thing I've seen, but it's just this animal pleading for air as the guy is pleading at the end of his life. It's gonna haunt my reality for a while. I can't recommend this movie enough though at the same time. That's how fucked up I am. This is a 10 out of 10 right here. 10 out of 10 effective. Horrible thing to sit through, but it was 97 minutes maybe. This is in German, I believe, and so you got subtitles, you got awesome music, you got incredible gore. Dude, whatever you are, however you are, take care of your body. You don't want to end up like this, dude. There's no way anyone does. Carcinoma, that's my review. I'm not going to show any pictures or any trailers because I don't think it's allowed. I'm sure that it would just be banned. It was horrid, and I